4 races down and 13 to go in the Area Cup Series for 2024 and Season 6. So lucky number 13 here at the Monster Mile here in Dover, Delaware. And sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. Tonight you'll need to be both to survive at this challenging racetrack. Miles the Monster is hungry and he's ready to chomp down on some race cars here. Another packed field at this challenging 1 mile concrete coliseum. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer joined by Finian DeCuna and Hunter Sleppy for tonight's event. This is going to be a fun one, Finian. 150 laps, 150 miles.
Yeah, I was going to say, Miles the Monster, he's definitely got a very big choosing because, like you mentioned, we have a packed field here. According to my count, we got 44 cars lined up on the entry list, so one driver is set to be going home at the end of this. So plenty of cars for his choosing. We've seen a lot of drivers, different drivers up near the top of the standings. Even as I'm looking in practice, some newer names still rising to the top of the timing sheet. So I think we're definitely going to be interested in seeing who's going to be near the top of this. We've had a slightly mixed bag this season of drivers, but Seth Knoll so far has been dominating with 2 wins to his name.
Yeah, that whole, my mind went to a blank there, but the Solar Flare team, they've been atop no matter what series it's been. Jake Nichols also here. He's got 2 wins to his name at this Monster Mile, but right now the fastest man on the practice sheet is Adam Cabot. Might want to keep an eye on him, Kyle, or keep an eye on the guy below him, Philip Groner.
Yeah, Philip Groner in that number 11, sitting P2, and he's had a pretty good start to the season as well in the 4 races so far. 3 top 10s and 2 top 5s. There are 5 drivers, make that 6, 7 drivers with 2 top 5s so far this season. But at the top, Seth Knoll, Jake Nichols, Douglas Newbegin, the top 3 in the point standings here, Finian. Coming into the night, I think experience is going to pay off at a track this challenging.
Oh, it absolutely is. Knowing how to tackle this racetrack, and especially knowing how to tackle traffic. Traffic, I think, is going to be a big thing. This is a fairly small track of 1 mile as opposed to the usual, typical standard mile and a half. It's about a 23-24-second lap time around here, and with so many cars we have around here, the leaders are going to catch from the back of the pack quick. Knowing how to go around this place fast, trying to get that cleaner, searching for the grip, and getting through traffic is going to be a big thing to go with.
Yeah, not to mention the amount of yellows that we accumulate at this 1 mile concrete oval, average of 7 yellows, and the last time we were here, we went to overtime, had a late caution, but Jake Nichols was able to stay afloat, and something Connor Horn looking to do is become the second 2-time Cup winner at Dover.
Sure, he'd like to do that. They call this the self-cleaning racetrack, but it only cleans itself like 80% of the way. It's like having a college roommate who will only halfway put away the dishes, and you got to do the rest as far as the track cleanup with the safety crews on the back straightaway in particular most of the time. Finian, not referencing you, by the way.
I was just about to say, I feel personally attacked.
You shouldn't. You did a good job. However, I think that it stands true. With just about under a minute remaining here in practice, there's your running order. Seth Knoll up there in the top 5. James Scioli in there in 5th as well in the number 7. And Finian, he's been a driver to watch in everything he runs.
Yeah, I was going to say, not too surprising. He's been doing very well this season so far. We're looking to see if he can improve on his successes. And also, I want to highlight the 07 Adam Cabot, currently sitting at the top of the timesheet. Luck has not gone his way this season. I'm trying to find where he is even on the point standings. He's currently 13th. It's actually not as bad as I thought, but only 1 top 10 for the 07's game. And that's not for lack of trying. He's been near the top of the orders, but been caught up in a lot of wrecks this season. Not really necessarily to his own doing.
Yeah, he's lost 5 spots in the point standings over the last race. Finished 34th at Charlotte after starting inside the top 5. Looking to rebound here at the Monster Mile.
Yeah, looking down the rest of your practice results here, it's pretty tight. About 20 drivers within 0.2 of a second. It is a fast lap around here, 24, 25 seconds. You're carrying a lot of corner speed, a lot of corner load. Tire wear is always a conversation every time we come here because of how aggressive and ruthless this track is on tires, even on a car like the Next Gen, especially with track temps in the mid 120 degree range here. Qualifying's pretty important, maybe not as important as it has been in weeks past. Only 1 driver will go home and miss this race, and Jacob Bell has already volunteered as tribute if that is the case. So we might get everyone in the race tonight for the first time in 5 races.
We'll see. And actually, one thing I want to highlight before we get onto the track, slight change for qualifying. Typically, we get 1 lap of qualifying for the bigger tracks and 2 laps for the shorter tracks. And well, this is considered a shorter track, so 2 laps of qualifying for these drivers out here for them to get an attempt in. So that means we might see a little bit more conventional stuff. You know, drivers make a mistake, they are not completely out of it. They have a chance to get reset, get back out there. As Cameron Hearn, I think, just kissed the wall a little bit out of turn 4 as he starts his lap.
Yeah, that's one thing we're going to have to keep an eye on, especially on corner exits, because you're kind of going uphill, if you will. Coming out of turn 2 there, that's going to be a trouble spot. But turn 4 is really going to be a trouble spot for these guys because you just kind of slide up towards the exit of the corner like you usually do. But for some reason, this wall just kind of sticks out more noticeable than other tracks.
Yeah, it's funny. This is about the most standard-looking oval you can find, and it might be one of the most challenging on the calendar. It's got a lot of nuance to it. And I think you talk a lot about the way that this racetrack drives. They call it takeoff and landing. Coming out of turn 2, when you come up off the corner, you can see how the banking kind of rises up. And similarly, into the corners, you drop down off the banking several stories to the bottom. And it is quite a ride, Finian, around here, but it is not as simple as the track map makes it look.
No, it really is, and banking has so much characteristics to it, and like you mentioned, the takeoff and the landing, the way the car literally goes down, flying down into the corner like you're jumping off a ramp and then climbing back up a hill on the corner exit. You can kind of see the car kind of rise and fall right there. You see Michael Curran coming back across the line. Looks like he's going to be situated 5th, back to 6th as a couple more drivers come on through. Blaze McKinney looking like he might take provisional pole here. Look at Max Service in the 81, and now as well as Jake Nichols in 73. He's getting ready to put a lap time down.
Yeah, 1/10 of a second separating McKinney and Scioli, but 1/1000th of a second was separating Jake Nichols and Kwame Scott in the finish last Monday at Charlotte. Looking to go back-to-back as Ryan Hartz has jumped up to 3rd. Hartz is a previous winner here back in Season 1. Started deep in the field in 17th, Kyle, but the last 2 seasons, the winners have come from within the first 2 rows.
This is going to be a pretty good time for Jake Nichols. This is trending to be a low 23. Is it going to be enough out of turn 4 across the stripe for Jake Nichols? It's a 23.726. It'll put him down in 11th spot. Not quite as good as we perhaps first thought.
Yeah, I was going to say, not the particular lap time he would have liked. Jake Matheson in the 54, he's jumped up to the top of the board, replace McKinney. As you look at Douglas Dubig in the 71, he's been having a string of fairly solid finishes. Unfortunately, at least the first lap in qualifying, not that fast. 33rd, I believe he still has one more attempt.
Ooh, big wiggle out of turn 2. Yeah,
sideways off of turn 2.
Yeah, that was a handful there, handful and a half there. Yeah. But Matheson less than 2 minutes away from securing his 2nd pole of the season. First one came earlier at Pocono, and Douglas Newbigin looking to continue his strong start to the season, running 3rd in the point standings right now.
And we will see how Newbigin will stack up here. Jackson Anderson enters turn 3 way up high here on the end of his first lap. As we coming around to take the green on his 2nd.
Give Cameron a whiplash there as he came across the line. Oh, I think almost hit turn 4 again on the wall. And across the line for the 83. That looked like that lap didn't count, so he's going to go all in on lap number 2. Get their decent runoff for turn 2, then heading into turn 3. You can nail these 2 corners, might have a decent lap.
Going to be tight here on corner exit.
Here the revs pick up on corner exit there as he gets light. That's a 23.967, puts him 35th. Travis Beckner has already used both of his laps. And Justin Bondurant's the only other driver that hasn't gone out for a lap, with the exception of Jacob Bell, who we already heard is purposely going to not start this race to make sure everyone else gets in. Seth Knoll just jumped up to 4th place.
Yeah, right near the end there with 30 seconds left in qualifying. Gets that 1 car up, not to P1, but to P4. And it looks like Travis Beckner, big news for him, did not get a clean run in. Made 2 attempts at a lap, couldn't quite nail it in the 28, so he's going to be starting near the back.
Looking through here, he's not inside the top 10, but he's currently listed 17th. Jeremy Miller had a big pickup from practice, Kyle. From what I saw, he was down in the 40s in the practice sheet, but qualified 17th so far. And his teammate Connor Horn also going to be struggling from the rear. Looks like he's 37th, and that's not the spot you want to be in at a track like Dover.
No, it is not. This is going to be a challenging proposition for Connor Horn to move forward, but Qualifying is complete. We'll head into the warm-up period here in just a moment's time. But race fans, make sure that you're subscribed to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat and earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today at twitch.tv/Area iRacing. All right, there's Miles Monster looking down on his, I guess, would you call it?
Pedestal?
Pedestal, his
Podium?
what's the word I'm looking for? It's
I don't know.
Like a really,
You tell me.
it's like a city, but like the term,
Town hall?
no, the, like his, not his establishment, his, what's the word? Like when you have like your ancient Roman Empire. Empire is what I was looking for. Yes.
You're trying to get that from city?
I mean, hey man, is it really that wrong?
I mean, in the context of Rome, you're right, but every other empire, not so much.
Well, all right, they're really big cities though, and lots of them. Oh man. Well, all right.
You can actually see it right outside the turn 4 right there.
Oh, you sure can, man. That's a big boy, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's big enough
Sure
that it
is.
made it to Flight Simulator.
yeah, I mean, considering that it's a flight simulator, the fact that it's even modeled is genuinely impressive in
Yeah.
any sort of way.
Well, at least it doesn't show it as a barn like Pocono.
Yeah. Sounds like the 6 is our DNQ driver. That's Jacob Bell. So he is the driver that will not make the field. The other 43 will neatly start on the grid here in just a couple minutes' time. We'll let the warm-up elapse for a few more minutes before we get rolling here this evening. So,
Yeah.
self-preservation fitting 43 drivers at a track this big, 150 laps. It doesn't feel like a very long race, does it?
No, it doesn't, and I think it'd probably end up running really quick. But I think we typically see Dover, if it remains green, which is the big caveat that especially Hunter mentioned as we were launching into the show. If we remain green, this should be pretty quick. Cautions will slow things down, and that's going to be something drivers have to keep an eye out for. Strategy is probably going to be a very big factor. And then also, too, I wanted to mention before I go into the race, a lot of naughty boys, a lot of EOLs and drive-thrus. Adam Cabot, we mentioned him very quick. He's going to be starting from the back, joining Justin Bonnerin, Nathan Jump, Jeremy Poole in the 32, Robinson in the 64, Anderson in the 83, and Jeremy Miller in the 30 getting a drive-thru.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it's 5 drivers here that are going to be getting an EOL, and holy cow, what a message this is from Michael Curran.
All right, so I can read the top one. It's a little cut off here on the graphic, but Area's Olympic synchronized swimming team. Weishart thought we were meeting for fantasy draft night. Swan secretly plotting to drown Weishart. Hearts showing off the beach bod. Pool confused pool waves with pool raves, and Shane Wolf wanted to wear a Speedo.
Oh, well, that last one's not surprising at all.
That worries me. Well, that's quite the. I mean, imagine how much printer ink Michael's used on us.
You know what's scary is that I was literally just thinking that as you said that.
So I saw a comment on Facebook the other day from someone that was had been printing a bunch of stuff, and they made the point that it might actually be cheaper to just own an octopus or a squid and just make it ink and bottle that stuff up.
That is not
how it
where I
works.
thought you were going with that sentence whatsoever.
But like, think about it. I mean, they did the math about how much printer ink they've used, and it was like, or if they, I can't remember what it was, but it was like tens of thousands of dollars of printer ink. And they're like, I think it's just cheaper just to have a squid in an aquarium. I mean, printer ink is out of control. I mean,
it is out of control. It's absolutely ridiculous.
it's going up like the ramp. Travis Beckner's jamming.
I wonder if he's vibing out to the music on the broadcast.
It looks
He
like
probably
it.
is, just give us a point.
Jake Matheson paying no mind to us at all. What's he got in the background there? That trophy.
Is that a stuffed dinosaur? Oh, I was looking at what's on the floor.
Well,
not the trophy.
that too. What else has he got in there? He's got a lot of junk sitting around. But nothing like Brett Puncari's situation. That is the ultimate man cave right there, huh?
Really is. Absolutely beautiful.
I dig everything about it.
You can have any
And
color
this too.
LED so long as it's green.
Yeah.
Hang on, there goes a little bit blue.
Oh, nice mustache we got going on. Here you go, Ricky Springer with a great message there on the shirt. And getting ready to go racing tonight. We got Connor Horn as well. Great. I mean, look at that mustache. Got it turned up. It's like he's about to rob me in Italian.
Oui.
That's not Italian. But and Connor Horn's got his Kyle Larson shirt on. And that microphone cable is going to drive me nuts. How would you drive like that? That cable's 10 feet long. I'm using the same headset. How does he
Yeah,
not?
I was going to say, I have way too much cable with what you gave me. I have it all knotted up trying to, like, prevent it from going all over the place.
You're
And
meant to-
somehow he's ran out of cable.
You're meant to be able to stand with it. It's a broadcast headset. So there's that. Whoop. The blimp just Hindenburged out of the sight, so he gone. And we're not in New
Thankfully,
Jersey.
it happened outside the racetrack
Yeah.
and not in the racetrack.
Gosh, I thought we already transitioned over. I
Is
wasn't.
that Miles'
expecting
first victim already?
that. Already, he's going after the blimps now. He's too hungry. All right, let's roll through our starting lineup here. This is, of course, our Central Mobile Home starting lineup. More on them later. Let's kick things off with the front row. It's Jake Matheson in the number 54, and Blaze McKinney will roll off alongside him in the number 87.
Rolling off row number 2 is going to be James Kelly in the number 7 machine. Next to him, Seth Noel line up in the 1 and 4th.
And fifth place, Ryan Hart's in the number 3. Matthew Morton starts 6th in the 18 Toyota.
Moving back to 7, Drew Jewell ended up missing out on Charlotte last week. Couldn't get a qualifying time in. He's back this week. Will be starting in 7th. In 8th, the 07 Adam Cabot, but he'll be heading towards the back.
Tyler Gary rolls off 9th in the number 62. Peyton Howell 10th in the number 52.
Michael Curran's going to be rolling off in the 24 and 11th place. Next to him, Cameron Hearn, his teammate in the number 4 in 12th.
13th place, Jake Nichols in the 73. Second of the championship standings coming into the night. Philip Groner in the 11 rolls off 14th.
Ricky Springer is going to be lined up in the 51 in 15th place. And rounding out row 8, Nick Silver in the 99 in 16th.
17th place, Jeremy Miller's number 30 looking for some better luck. And Landon Cardullo rolls off on the outside of row 9 in the 19 car.
Yeah, reminder, drive-through for Jeremy Miller. So he's got a lot on his plate today. Then we go ahead to Greg Mitchell in the number 2, lineup in 19th. Matthew Bell in the 20th place in the 8th.
Bailey Turner rolls off 21st to the 25 car, and Condor Okrezik 22nd in the number 14 Camaro.
23rd, Brent Picard is going to line up in the 35. Next to him, Tyler Nichols line up in the 41 and 24th.
25th place, Seth Berger in the number 77, and Reese Schaefer rolls off in the outside of row 13 in the number 97.
Bryce Senezak going to be rolling off in the 09 and 27th. Edward Scheer Jr. line up in the 17 car in 28th.
29th place, Max Service in the number 81, and Trey Eitzen rolls off 30th in the 78 car.
Ed Robertson's going to schedule a lineup in 31st. He's going to be dropping to the back. Mace K next to him in the 31 in 32nd.
And 33rd place, Jonathan Oates in the 45. David Weishart starts 34th in the number 33 car.
Next to him, behind him, Douglas Newbig's lineup in the 71 in 35th. Jackson Anderson in the 36th place in the 83. Another EOL heading to the back.
And 37th, Connor Horn. He's got a long way to go tonight in the number 42. Robert Colgan rolls off 38th in the 94 car.
And for Colgan, his first start in the series since Daytona. Garrett Grant's lineup in the number 5 in 39. Next to him, Andrew Payne in the 70 car, rolling off in 40th.
And the last couple of drivers rolling off the grid here, Emerson Arden in the number 57. Travis Beckner, 42nd. And Justin Bondurant will roll off in 43rd. That's your starting lineup here for tonight's race. And of course, that was your Central Mobile Home starting lineup. Looking for a small or large home, a new shed or a Triple Crown trailer? Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to CentralMobileHomesInc.com to get started today. With one lap to green here, next time by, let's pick our favorites. The championship standings for us coming into the night are not in my favor, despite having a win. I'm down at 108 points in third, with Finian in second with 126, and Hunter leading. And because I am down at the bottom, I'm going to pick first again, and it hasn't gone wrong for me so far. I'm going to roll with Seth Noel, the number 1 points leader, starts fourth. I got to be conservative to catch these guys.
Boo, you went with the safe pick. Hunter,
Yes.
why don't you go ahead?
Oh, you're going to allow me to do it. Well, in my opinion, this is the safe pick. It's the pole sitter, Jake Matheson.
That is a pretty safe pick. That's a nice one. I'm going to go with, I think I picked him before and he let me down, but I'm going to give him another shot. James Coe in the number 7. It's going to be my pick.
I think you picked him last week if I remember, and he had a pretty disastrous round.
Yes, as did many.
Yeah, last week we had a lot of restart pileups and things of the sort. That's where a lot of those EOLs came from. But tonight, a new lease on life, 150 laps in round number 5. This race will take us 1 hour to complete from flag to flag if it stays green. And next week it will be green at Sonoma. We're going road racing next week. No caution flags planned for them. And then we go to North Wilkesboro. So a couple interesting tracks up on the calendar. Some of the most challenging ones on the schedule. Between here, Sonoma, North Wilkesboro, and Darlington, followed by Montreal, week number 9. But week 5, the Area Cup Series from Dover, Delaware. We're racing at the Monster Mile. Lap 1 complete. A lot of shifting and shuffling in the order as everyone grabs purchase on their part of the racetrack. And Finian, looks like Jake Matheson has pulled ahead. Here comes McKinney, though, in the 87.
Yeah, he's not giving up, trying to get back and see if he can have another shot at the 54. He's all over his rear bumper. Look at how close he gets in the middle of the corner and on exit, almost ready to turn him around. He's going to have a look to the inside in turn 1.
Gonna send it down low for the lead and going to take that without ease or without pressure from the 54. Matheson takes it with ease. Only lap 3, but a good thing to get the lead here early, Kyle. We had very few leaders and very few lead changes.
Yeah, 7 yellows here last year. Wasn't with quite as large of a field. But that isn't really, I mean, we had about that last week, and already we're off to, I guess, what I would consider to be a pretty good start with a field this size. So we could see a lot of green flag running tonight. If the cautions start to fall, they will start to fall hard. Michael Curhan working over Drew Jua in the 13.
Yeah, majority of the field immediately getting single file for the first couple of rows, and I think really the entire top 20 for the most part. Getting into a groove, getting into a rhythm, so big key early on. So the Michael Curran, but off ahead, battling for position. Peyton Howell trying to knock on the door of Ryan Hart's battle for 6th.
Yeah, looking to the inside, there is the 3 of Hearts trying to stay in front of Peyton Howell, but that strong run to the outside, keeping the 52 in front for the moment, closing in on Matthew Morton in the 18.
Down side by side through 3 and 4. Gets really tight there on the bottom out of turn 4 and slots back in single file. Cameron Hearn has a look, and here comes Groner to the outside of the number 11.
Yeah, Groner making some moves here. Not the best qualifying, was pretty quick in practice, and now trying to show that speed here at the start. Already up 4 spots, trying to make it, actually already up 5 spots, trying to make it 6 if he can complete the pass around Cameron Hearn. Working around the outside. Looks like the outside lane definitely the place to be if you want to make some moves, as Cameron Hearn gets a little bit loose on the bottom. Groner tries to gas it up, but still not quite clear of the 4.
I think towards the end of this race, we're going to start seeing more people utilize that outside lane. We're already seeing it early. And Hearts with a checkup there, going to be close for Philip Groner. He had to back off there. There's a checkup to the inside, move towards to the outside, and now Tyler Gary in the 62 going to have to regroup on the 11.
Ricky Springer here in the 51. He's on the outside of Nick Silver in the 99. And Ricky's up a few positions from where he started and looking for more. And multi-groove Dover isn't something that we'd seen a lot in the past, Finian, but I think it was last season here in this next-gen car. Something about it. There's a little bit more ability to move around the racetrack, and that gives drivers options.
Yeah, I always love seeing these drivers spreading out, looking for grip in different lanes, especially at a track like Dover, where it is usually single file for the most part, and you got to really kind of make and maneuver and make your purchase to really have any sort of chance at getting around other drivers. Looking at Tyler Gary in the middle here as he's trying to make some moves after a really solid debut last week at Charlotte. Of course, expect nothing less for a NASCAR Pro Series driver. Currently just inside the top 10. As you look further on back, battle here, Matthew Bell, number 8. He's side by side with Nick Silver in the 99.
And some good side-by-side action throughout the field as we go back towards the top 10, actually the top 5. 5th spot up for grabs. Morton trying to power through on the outside. Looking at the bumper of Seth Knoll. He's going to have a strong run to the outside of the 1.
Trying to make that upper groove work here. It's a hot race day. Middle and top haven't really been rubbered in, but again, this wasn't really an option all that many years ago, so the fact that you can even move around a little bit is impressive. Drivers getting more comfortable, though, a couple laps into this race, Vinny, and starting to search around. Everyone
Everyone searching around for some grip as Matthew Morton tries to make a move on the outside, where at least the maneuverability is up there in that top group as he's trying to work his way on by one of the Solar Flare drivers. Looking further on back, Connor Horn. Speaking of moving forward, he's had a solid shot at moving forward. He qualified at the back. This wasn't an EOL, first one I think in 3 weeks where he has been relegated to the back. Just didn't have a good qualifying effort. Qualified 37th, up 11 spots and slowly marching forward in the 42.
Well, we already got one retiree. That's Justin Bondurant, and Jeremy Miller also a lap down. Meanwhile, the fight for the lead still going on. Matheson with the strong run. Powers back in front of the 87 of Blaze McKinney early on lap 13. Oh, Michael Curran in the back. Someone went off in the back there.
Yeah, out of turn 2, Blaze McKinney was on the bottom here, trapped. And Matheson was able to rip the outside and hang on to that. And you mentioned Michael Curran got a little spicy. They're still side by side. Jake Nichols on the top, and here comes Drew Jua. And the lanes are widening out quite a bit. That's giving drivers a lot of opportunities, Finian, but that's kind of a false safety net, I think. That outside lane can get tight quick.
It definitely can, especially as the tires start to wear out a little bit more. And again, we don't expect it to be too ridiculous of the tire wear with these cars, but we have seen it has come into a factor, especially at tracks like Pocono. You definitely are going to want some fresh tires later on, so you definitely can't abuse it. So that's definitely a resource you want to kind of keep in mind, and especially for the guys pushing that outside lane, might hurt later on the run as Matthew Morton still trying to make some moves.
Yeah, it was actually Drew Jua in the 13, not Michael Curran in the 24. They have similar color schemes on both machines, where the red and the blue like to fade towards the middle. But yeah, he had a moment off turn 4 a few laps ago, but now is in front of Michael Curran. Meanwhile, Cameron Hearn trying to stay inside the top 10. Tyler Gary to his inside, fighting for 9th.
Yeah, really impressed that these drivers have been able to give each other so much room so far and let this race play out. It's just so challenging single file, especially once the tires start to wear out. This is one of those tracks that, Finian, you mentioned it earlier, how it is a rhythm track. And to do that, I mean, it's high commitment though, right? So once you're in your rhythm and you are kind of got your muscle memory down, if you plant the throttle and the car understeers a little bit, you just don't have time to save it. By the time you realize that you're going to hit the fence, you're already hitting the fence.
Yeah, it's really hard to make deviations, changing lanes, changing lines, changing entries, changing exits. So that's a big thing guys have to keep in mind, keep in the back of their head when they're making those changes, when they gas up. They have to change that point and change the turn-in point and when to get back on the throttle, because like you said, it can easily find that wall. But we haven't really seen many drivers really approach it. They've been respecting it, especially on the exits. They look at Drew Guro trying to make some moves forward, trying to catch back to Ricky Springer. Nick Nichols has been making some moves, broken inside the top 10. He's on the outside of Ryan Hart. Tyler Gary ahead of him is just getting around Philip Groner, and Groner blocked his teammate hard there on the back straightaway.
I'm not sure if he blocked him or if he just had a moment coming off turn 2. That is one of the trouble spots, that and turn 4. But Jake Nichols methodically working his way inside the top 10, up to 8th now. Groner on the way down to 10th and starting to blink a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like drivers that have been able to get to the outside have been able to carry a lot more speed on corner exit. And again, I think the one thing you have to be cautious of is when you're up on that high lane, you don't have that kind of bottom rubbered in groove to settle into. So if you miss the corner, really hard to recover from it, as Finney, you already pointed out. But keep an eye on Connor Horn in that 42. He continues to make up ground up to 22nd now, 23rd.
He stole a little bit here in the mid-20s, but he's still making some progress. He's got Jonathan Mills ahead of him and Bryce Senizak. As the competition starts to stiffen up a little bit and his cars start to get a little bit more wear on them. But he's still trying to move forward. Jake Nichols actually one of the biggest movers at the moment, as he's just gotten past Tyler Gary for 7th place. 73 machine.
And meanwhile, Travis Beckner is starting to work his way closer towards the front of the field. Started all the way back in 42nd up to the top 25, where he's fighting that steering wheel and is looking to pass on Connor Horn, who's also started from the back and is slowly working towards the front. Meanwhile, closer towards the back half of the top 10, there's still some side-by-side action. Cameron Hearn has fallen off a rock.
And down on 15th place, Matthew Bell to the outside. Ricky Springer's in this fight. Nick Silver, Michael Curran. The 24 has also dropped a few spots after starting just outside the top 10. He's just clinging to a top 15 now.
Yeah, we're kind of seeing what we really see a lot on the Pro Series. Drivers push a little bit too hard early on. Tires get worn out and they start to drop to the back. couple of those drivers, Blaze McKinney, he's dropped down 2 spots. James Scally has dropped down 2. Parts has dropped down 4. Drew has dropped down 4. Curran 4. And Cameron Hearn 4. As all of them are starting to fall back here in the middle part of this run and starting to get more wear on the tires. Adam Cabot taking a look at his progress. He's climbed up a lot of spots. He's scheduled to start in 8, had an EOL, so he's coming from a long way back in the mid-20s at the moment.
He had the fastest time in practice for a reason, so no need to doubt that 07. He's actually going to look inside for 25th on Travis Speckner. Not sure if he's going to have the run to do so. These guys have been starting to get more comfortable running that outside line, Kyle.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Again, I don't know how viable that is in the real world necessarily, but here in iRacing, the last couple of times we've been here, that seems to be a comfortable place to defend from. I don't know that you're going to go up there necessarily to make passes. You might just default to the bottom and try to slide up the hill, make it easier on yourself, but some drivers really using that upper groove to much effect. But no changes up front. Seth Knoll is, well, I guess I shouldn't say no changes. Blaze McKinney's dropped to 5th. And Jake Matheson continues to lead by just about 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, solid going for him at the moment. No one really able to challenge him. Seth Knoll kind of keeping his distance out of the Matthew Morton. Morton's kind of hanging out in 3rd. A lot of stability inside the top 10 at the moment. A couple of shuffles here and there. As of the Michael Curran, he's trying to work on the back of Ricky Springer. Battle for 14th between these two.
Here's a look at the bumper from Springer, the defending Season 5 Cup Series champion. Right behind him, actually going to look to his outside, going to have a strong run. He's going to be able to get around him, but Springer will have the inside line for turn 1, and Curran's going to clear him with ease.
Yeah, nice move back forward to move back up a step. Battle for 2nd is starting to heat up. Matthew Morton back of the 1, and then Jake Nichols in there in the 73. Couple trio of Toyotas. Quadratic?
What? Quintuplet?
A quartet.
Quadratic equation?
A quartet of Toyotas.
Oh, quartet. I think quintuplet's 5.
Yes.
Yes.
Blaze McKinney is identifying as a Toyota Camry just for the purposes of this front battle.
And actually, speaking of the Toyota Camry, interesting fact, every race this season so far has been won by a Toyota.
That's the only interesting fact associated with the Toyota Camry.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Shots
I own
fired
a
at all you
Corolla.
Toyota
We're a
Camry
Toyota
owners out
family. I respect them, but I stab. Wait, you said, say that again, Finney? I was too busy thinking of a burn. What was it?
I said that every single race this season so far has been won by a Toyota.
Oh, all 4?
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean that sarcastically.
No, I'm just laughing. Completely went over your head. First time I said it, yeah.
Well,
All 4 of them.
I can only handle one thing at a time. So
Yeah, Seth Knoll, Jake Nichols, and Jake Matheson.
wow.
And actually, funny enough, they're all near the front.
Well, that's not really that funny. That makes sense. You know, I mean, the winners of the last couple races are still at the front. Sorry, I'm combative tonight.
Clearly.
Little battle going on there between Drew Jua and Ryan Hartz. That battle is over as quickly as it started. A
Ooh, a new one.
Scrum
with
back
Blaze
here.
McKinney and Tyler Gary for 5th. Ooh, they're making some contact in the middle of 3 and 4. Blaze McKinney not giving any room for the 62. Pinching him down to the bottom.
Fast charging 62. He's been slowly working his way towards that top 5. And now McKinney trying to look underneath the one of Knoll for 4th. Payne Howell there, still creeping in the mix, as is the 7 of Scioli, but on board with Blaze McKinney. Stayed inside the top 5 for the majority of this race, but it's up for grabs at the moment with Tyler Gary closing in.
So I don't want to bring on the bad juju here. As we see McKinney get a nice run out of turn 4 and goes by the 1. If we do go green for another 15, 20, 30 laps, guys, green flag pit stops here. This might be the hardest racetrack on the schedule to do those.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm hoping these guys practice, because if they were looking, trying to do Larry Mack and doing some trends of the race and figured out we're going to get some cautions, no need to practice green flag pit stops. They're going to be horribly mistaken, like you said, because we kind of got a preview there with the camera shots. It is a very difficult pit road to get down, not just to how far out of the way, how far out of the banking it is, but also the speed. It is very easy to speed around here. Pit road speed, only 35 miles an hour, one of the slowest on the calendar.
A lot of very impatient drivers out there. They're going to try to press the issue to 40 and above, and We got a gaggle of cars right here. That's who's that? Jonathan Oates to the inside of Ricky Springer, and Connor Okrezik swerving down the front stretch.
Getting really dicey with this group here. 35 laps in, you feel like your tires are starting to wear out. You're getting a little impatient. You've been sitting behind the same guy for a while. You'd like fresh tires. You wouldn't mind having a yellow. This is when you start to see drivers amp up the aggression level quite a bit. Bailey Turner to 14th place. His progress hasn't been quick, Finian, but he really needs some better luck in this camp.
Yeah, I think at this point he just wants another solid finish. He's kind of in the same department as Adam Cabot. Quick car, just not been able to finish and get the results, and been caught up in issues more so rather than less. And actually, as you look in the middle of this, Jonathan Oates wanted to highlight him. He's had a really solid start of this race, one of the biggest movers in the race so far. Started in 33rd, up 17 spots to 16th. Definitely keep an eye on the number 45 as I think, who was that, Greg Mitchell?
Oh, Cameron Hearn!
Loose.
Mitchell and Cameron Hearn, but Hearn just smacked the wall in the middle of the front stretch. His tires have fallen off a cliff. He was inside the top 10 at one point. He's outside the top 20.
I don't have the best memory ever, but if I recall, he had the same thing happen to him last year, where he just burned you see him right in the middle of the straightaway, just lighting up the rears and into the fence. But I remember him having this exact problem where, for whatever reason, Cameron just couldn't keep the tires on the car, and it only got worse throughout the rest of the race. So hopefully he can figure something else out, Finian, but he has not been kind to the Goodyears here.
Yeah, and also one driver struggling, Ricky Springer. He's really struggling to keep that car pinned to the inside lane. He's struggling on his tires. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see the 51 be one of the first drivers down on pit lane. He was really tight in turns 1 and 2. He just got passed by 2 cars immediately. Phil Groner and Greg Mitchell. And Landon Cardullo is, I think, right in behind. He's looking at his chops as another potential spot. 51, he's struggling.
I saw that too, Kyle. That was Travis Beckner. I was just about to talk about him. He's outside the top 30 now. That's Reese Schaefer in the 97 just going by him. Max Service in the 81 passing him as well. Doug Newbigging third in the championship standings, also outside the top 30.
Yeah, this is not going well for these drivers here. Something isn't right. I don't see any damage on these cars, but clearly they have burned their stuff up in their progress to go back forward. I'm thinking, Finian, I don't know if you can go all the way lap 75. Maybe you can, but maybe split this race into 3 equal chunks, pit at lap 50 and 100, and then just make the math easy. Otherwise, you might try to stretch it, but we'll see if that's possible.
I feel like they should be able to reach 75. Running full tank of gas, 20 gallons. I feel like they should be able to make it a 75.
They want to go that far, though? That's my question, right?
Well, the thing is, I don't think they really have a choice, because I just don't feel like cutting this in a 50-lap stint is going to be, it just puts them too much at a disadvantage, especially because you can easily get lapped around here coming down to pit road, considering the slow pit road speed. I mean, you look at Jeremy Miller, he's 1 lap down after his drive-through. He's the only car lap down at the moment, and he's sitting in 42nd.
Right now we see Philip Groner holding on to 11th, and Ricky Springer is starting to go back, and we're at that part of the run, Kyle, where the rear tires are spinning even more, especially on corner exits. Going to be more of a challenge for these guys.
Yeah, watch this for Groner in the number 11 here out of turn 4. Gets down to the bottom, throttles up, and then right there, big wiggle, and he catches it right before he gets the wall, but that'll definitely wake you up.
Yeah, he's another driver that's struggling and slowly falling to the back. Same camp as Ricky Springer. You can see a gale of cars forming up in behind those two. Almost 3 wide there for a second off turn 4 as they're all kind of fanning out in formation on make some moves. See Brent Pumkari on the inside. He's making a move. Cardullo also making a move to the inside of Ricky Springer. Oh, as the 19 just slides up in front of the 51, almost gets turned on the back straightaway.
And Connor Horn starting to close in, as well as Adam Cabot, his teammate Ed Cheer Jr. in the 17. Almost in the middle of that 3-wide battle with Ricky Springer for the time being, but yeah, this is a part of the field where I do not want to be a part of.
Is this anyone's arm itchy here? It's my caution senses are tingling right now. I think we're getting close. It's been 45 laps of the Monster Mile, the full field. Everybody but one on the lead lap. This is going to be a wild one tonight, whether we get a yellow or not. Matthew Morton under fire here from Jake Nichols. They've dispatched a couple drivers in this process, but Jake Matheson has just lit the afterburners. He's driven off into the sunset here.
Yeah, really no competition behind him, and just been able to kind of, like you mentioned, light the afterburners and set off with Matthew Morton in behind. So I think he's feeling a little bit comfortable about his guy. Matthew Morton doing a great job defending from Jake Nichols in behind, though. This battle resuming between these two, McKinney and Gary. Last time they were side by side, almost went sideways for one of them, and McKinney still not letting off a lot. Actually, I'm getting my pink cars mixed up. That's James Kiley that's battling right now. Gary's out of him.
It happens to all of us. I mean, very similar colored cars inside the top 5 there.
Big
Meanwhile,
wiggle on the backstretch. Seth Berger on the apron trying to gather it up.
that was a close call there with Cameron Hearn in the middle of that. Ricky Springer as well. Jackson Anderson a part of that. This is a part of the track I do not want to be near. I don't want to be near any of these guys right now.
If we get to a green flag sequence, which I don't know that we will, but if we get there, this will spread the field out, and I think this will be less of an issue. But the field's still very much together. Most of the field's within half a lap of each other. And so it is really sketchy right now.
I feel like if we're going to get a caution, it's going to be Ricky Springer blowing a tire. He is really struggling. He's essentially become a moving chicane at this point. And it's really surprising because we see Ricky have, maybe not the best tire management, but decent enough usually. But he's really burnt that right front out. And he's just getting absolutely freight train. Max Service just got by him. Douglas Dubicking him. Springer's back in 31st, and he wasn't just not fighting for a 15th position not too many laps ago.
Yeah, Ricky Springer usually runs well here. His average finish is, I just had it up there, 7th. So he typically runs inside the top 10 throughout these Dover races and his 2 starts, but something to miss tonight for the 51 car.
And battle for second has been completed. Matthew Morton up to 2nd place. Just a reference of how far off, for about 1.5 to 2 seconds off of the best times that we've seen so far, which isn't monster fall off, but it's not all about the time. It's just about how it feels to drive. And right now it probably feels like driving a wet bag of rocks.
For this car, that's actually kind of significant, I would think. We've not seen too much tire fall off in this car, more so lately this season than in seasons past. But definitely enough for them to know. So we're on lap 50 now, and this is, again, if you want to pull a 2-stop strategy, ideally this is when you're going to want to be coming on down, but I don't think whoa! Boom! Bryson has that turn on the front straightaway by Garrett Grant. Caution going to fly out.
Oh boy. That changes, I think, the dynamics here a little bit. We were anticipating pit stops maybe soon, within the next 15 to 20 laps. And Bryce Senesac goes around with some assistance. Let's go back and see what happened. The 5 of Garrett Grant. Wrong button. There we go. Nope. There we go. It just kind of came together there, huh?
Yeah, it looked like Garrett Grant was trying to just side draft off the 09 to get a better run into turn 1, and it just went wrong.
Just very slight contact between the two, and what goes down must come up. In this case, they went down the 24 degrees of bank. Actually, 9 on the front stretch, up to 24 degrees of banking in the turns.
Ooh, man, Ricky Springer. His bad luck almost got a lot worse there. Watch this.
Whoa! Well, his bad luck became good luck because we got a caution, and I don't think he would have been able to survive another 25 laps on these tires, so he gets a chance to come down to pit lane, put a little bit of a reset button on, as every single driver is down a pit road.
And you can guarantee that everyone will take 4 tires. If they don't, then they must have made a mistake in their pit box, because you're kind of going to need them. You don't want to risk 2 tires here this early in the going. Maybe if we get a late race caution, a late race restart. But Matheson, Morton, Nichols, the top 3 off pit road.
If you're a Goodyear salesman in Dover, Delaware, you're doing real good right about now. You've met your yearly quota, I think, at your local tire shop. But Matheson, Morton, Nichols, Gary, McKinney, Jeremy Miller rolled through pit lane but did not stop. I imagine he will hit pit lane because he would need to pretty shortly.
Wait, I'm surprised that Jeremy Miller came in at all because he is a lap down.
He might have rolled through. He didn't roll through this time. Maybe that was from.
Oh, okay.
That might have been from him earlier. Oh, serving the drive-through. That's what that is from.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so he's did not pit. He will pit next time by, and here he comes. Just be catching up with the situation. Usually, when you have a time and no box information, that tells me that he rolled through pit lane, which is true. I just didn't realize that he had done it earlier in the race, and that's why he was a lap down.
Yeah, well, he's going to be another happy man along with Ricky Springer because he can get back on the lead lap and finally get back in this race. And it's really amazing that you can see how penalizing the drive-thrus can be. So that's an incentive that they've been trying to put with Area here to be a good boy and not have to start at the back.
Yeah, you don't want to accumulate too many penalty points, and that's what we saw with Jeremy Miller. He's got too many right now, so EOL for him is the drive-through at the beginning of the race, which that's unfortunate, but still a little less than 100 laps to go for him to correct his wrongdoings and possibly make up some significant track time and positions.
So 52 laps into this race, we got our first yellow. I would imagine that drivers will likely owe us one more pit stop, and they'll probably just split it from here. Unless you want to try to go 96 laps, which I don't know that I would want to do. What do you got?
So technically, I was just kind of checking the fuel mileage. They can kind of make it. They could realistically stretch it 100 laps.
Schrodinger's fuel cell, kind of make it. What is that?
Well, they're looking at a decent fuel window. It's like 90 to 100 laps, right? And and that's just kind of regular running. That's not including any fuel savings. I'd say probably closer to 95 to 100 laps. If they do fuel save a little bit more, they can definitely get over the 100 lap marker. That being said, these tires, though, I do not think will be able to make it 100 laps. So that might be where you maybe want to play some strategy, and we may see a caution come out, so you may want to wait out for that. So quite a few unknowns up in the air, especially depending on how the rest of this race is going to look.
Well, we haven't had a lot of replays yet because we've had our first yellow lap 52, but our replay partner is Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing returns to the Hendry County Motorsports Park on September 7th. That's just about a month from now, including 360 Top Gun Wing Sprints, Crucial 8 models, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults. Kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, right off U.S. Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more info, and visit areairacing.com for more info on these boys. They're about ready to get things restarted. Lap 56. Here we go.
Oh, Matthew Morton.
Crash on the restart in front of the field. Everybody grinds to a halt. And a few drivers are in it, but for the most part, we got away with that one, I think.
Huh, that's an interesting one.
This is shades of Charlotte. Charlotte last week we had, 140 plus degree, but that was in the Pro Series. But yeah, this one's a bit of a shocker to me.
Yeah, let's have a look. Does he just spin it up? Yeah, just spins to the right, bounces off.
And usually that outside lane is usually the source of error for these drivers, especially in cars with stock cars with a little bit more horsepower. I'm a bit surprised to see with the next gen, especially considering he had cold, fresh tires. If he had older tires, I could see it. It's similar to what we saw at Charlotte last week. But yeah, I think that definitely caught him off guard.
So Seth Knoll got tagged in this. He dropped all the way to 42nd, but because the caution flew before he was just sitting still not to get hit again, he was able to retake 11th place. 10th, actually, and, well, it's like the field's trying to get themselves organized here.
Now waiting on the pace car as well. But yeah, that's an unfortunate mishap for Matthew Morton. He needed a good run, and he was running inside the top 5. He hasn't had a top 10 yet all season, Kyle, and he just gets taken out in this this restart.
Yeah, he goes to the shift and the driveline shock. Trying to I don't know if, were they all in first gear? What was Matheson doing? Yeah, first gear. And Jake shifted right away, but I would think first gear is really aggressive to be starting in anywhere. I know their speed's really slow, but you're on the banking, so you don't have all the force of the race car through the rear wheels. You got, a force normal to the racetrack, but also the force kind of straight down gravity, right? It's not all of it is going straight down into the tire in the direction that you need it for the most longitudinal force. So, yeah, first gear, I know Matheson was doing it, but on the outside, I think everyone just learned a lesson. If they were watching, that maybe starting in second to avoid that wheel spin might be wise.
Well, this is, again, a car that really hasn't seen a whole lot of wheel spin due to its decent reduction in horsepower to what we saw with the Gen 6 car, especially when it had 900, used to have 900 horsepower or close to it. So I think that's just one of those things that just kind of catches everyone off guard, because you don't really think about wheel spin much with this car anymore unless it's on older tires. And, well, like you said, lesson learned there with the banking, the track conditions, everything involved. going to want to take it a little bit easy in that outside lane on the restarts from now on.
Oh yeah, this outside lane already at this track is hard to get a good restart, and because that restart zone's right at the, I shouldn't say middle of turn 4, but it's right around that exit point. And we've seen it in the past here in real life scenarios where that has been an issue for some of these guys going through the restart zone there. So big advantage if you're restarting as the leader, because you're going to choose that inside line. But yeah, that was not a good look at all, and it's a shame that Matthew Moore's race. Well, is he out of the race?
Well, no, I don't think there was a lot of damage. Everyone did such a yeah. There's a lot of damage. I didn't see that before.
He's got a lot of damage.
Well,
a couple more cars have a decent amount of damage. Adam Cabot got a damage to his right front, but I mean he'll definitely be able to continue onwards. Probably not with his car in 100% condition. And I thought I saw Philip Groner get a chunk of that. He got some damage to his nose, but nothing to really scoff at.
He's down at 36. I think that's the thing that is a bigger deal.
Yeah.
But 2 penalty points also for the 18, and that's tough. But again, the expectation, there's a responsibility being up there on those front couple of rows. If you make a mistake up front, that incident is multiplied. So it is a tough burden to bear, and it's unfortunate for Matthew Morton. But if everybody did that, it'd be a long night, right? So you got to keep the right foot. That's why I think second gear is a safer place. The problem is, Finney, you mentioned the reduced power. You kind of lose a lot of your torque too. So you're still revving these motors up to 8,500 RPM plus. They still generate most of their power way up there, despite them being your old-fashioned pushrod V8s. So I think there's still a tendency to want to rev the engine all the way to the moon and restart it in maybe a lower gear than you probably should. But again, you're going to feel the most acceleration in first. You're going to restart in first. That's what we saw Matheson do, and I imagine we'll see others do the same.
Here to see what Jake Nichols is going to do if he saw what had just happened with Matthew Morton. Maybe going to readjust his strategy here for the restart. It looks like he's staying in second.
Well, fingers crossed that we get through this one okay.
Nope,
Jake, down to first, right? I mean, we're doing 45 miles an hour, and it's kind of right between. Let's right on board the front here. Jake Nichols, watch the 54 as we see the blue paint on the ground as we accelerate towards that zone. Much cleaner restart there and off and away, but Nichols gets left in the dust.
Yeah, they took that with a little bit of caution, but it might cost him potentially a spot, but car's in one piece, so he's going to continue forward. James Kelly, decent restart for him. He's trying to rock from the outside of Blaise McKinney for third.
Yeah, these guys going to try and get the most out of they can with their tires. It's as fresh as they'll ever be on this restart, as multiple grooves of side-by-side action on that outside lane, but for third, it's Scioli to the outside of McKinney.
This is where the aggression starts to ramp up a notch here, though, right? Because you've sat under yellow for a couple laps. Everyone's had a chance to cool down, kind of evaluate their position, but you're going to notch up the aggressiveness. You've been in the car for a while. You've got fresh tires. You can go. You're going to try to.
Yeah, and you kind of learn the limits of the car, especially, and learn the limits of a lot of your competitors as well. That first one is just now just a matter of pushing that boundary, trying to gain those extra spots, especially if you're up near the top. As you see, still side-by-side action near the back. And you're paying max service in the middle of this battle.
Fighting on that outside lane, trying to get the most that they can, and Lee Schaefer in that 97 looks to the inside of Brent Bucari for position. As Berger still trying to get a run. Actually, Berger in service going to be door-to-door off this corner.
Brent Bucari in virtual reality. I always think that VR helps you a lot at a place like this when you're in close proximity and margins are tight. Gives you that kind of natural feel. Oh, car in the wall. It's Groner in the 11. Bounced off the fence out of 2, but he gathers it up.
Yeah, just got loose off of 2, and essentially the wall helped him save it and recover the car to get it straightened. Not too big of a hit, so we'll continue on, but a bad day going worse for the number 11.
Meanwhile, his teammate Jake Nichols up to second, looking to hold back Blaise McKinney as he moved up in front of him for position. Starting to peek a little bit to that outside, and oh, he's cutting it close, Kyle. Almost got his nose chopped there.
Yeah, what we were just talking about, everyone kind of evaluating how much and how hard they can push. Connor Horn's progress kind of stalled out at about 22nd spot on the previous run. Travis Beckner was able to leapfrog a few spots and has actually drawn ahead of the 42. And Finning, wasn't it here that these two had one of their major run-ins in seasons past?
Well, they've had quite a few run-ins, but that's definitely one of them. And while I think Conor Horn might try to use Travis Beckner here as the spear and have him kind of cut through the traffic and he can kind of skate his way on through, it'll help save his tires just a little bit more, but he's actually looking like he might try to fancy a move around the outside of the 28.
Yeah, behind them, you see the bright pinkish purple car, Tyler Gary. He actually came back down pit road. So he's got a few laps more fresher tires under his machine than most people. So expect to see him fly through the field.
Yeah, he spent 26 seconds down there, so I think that was partially damage repair. But you're right, 4 lap fresher tires. Maybe that'll matter, maybe it won't. But either way, battle for the lead is starting to heat up here. Jake Matheson and Jake Nichols, the Jake and Jake show, taking over.
Yeah, we saw Matheson fairly untouched that first run, but Nichols actually trying to mount some pressure, which I'm a bit surprised. I thought we might see the 73 take this a little bit more cautiously, especially considering the fact there's a chance they could try to make it to the end, and we know if there's anyone that can save tires, it's definitely Jake Nichols.
Yeah, the Jake and Jake show providing us a good battle for the lead here at Dover. We're slowly creeping towards halfway, about 6 laps out, maybe 7 when they cross the stripe here. McKinney tapping the wall. Drew Jew in the 13 tapped the wall in corner exit as well. He's just outside the top 5.
And Blaze McKinney's had a really good night in that 87. We talked about him battling for the lead earlier, and he got it for, how many laps did he lead? 9. And lost it back to Jake Matheson, but we know he's quick. But wrestling it away from these two will be a challenge in its own right. Lap 70 now, and back single file. There's a couple drivers that are still poking out, little side by side. Conor Horn has gotten by Travis Beckner, who's dropped a few spots in the last few laps.
Yeah, Beckner is starting to go a little bit more backwards. Oh.
Just like that, lead change. You take the camera off for 3 seconds, so like a pair of toddlers. Get out of your sight, and all of a sudden they're fighting each other.
Yeah, it looked like Jake Nichols got a really good run out of turn 2 on the back straightaway, and Matheson, it's not really worth fighting. I'm going to let you have it.
Also burning up more fuel as you're leading, but Matheson looking to get back to the lead almost. Had to run to the inside, backed off there. Trying to hold back Blaze McKinney, who's creeping in on this mix for the lead.
Yeah, 3-horse fight here. These are the only drivers in this postal code right now, with Scioli about 6/10 back. Kind of fighting a second race ahead of Seth Knoll, Drew Jua, and Matthew Bell. That number 8 making its way forward after starting in 20th. Curhan back here too.
Yeah, Curhan back there as well. And then also right in behind these two is Jonathan Oates, up 24 spots. He's got that 45, has quietly got himself inside the top 10. Might want to keep him circled in that Ford Mustang. He might be hiding quite a bit here of force to be reckoned with near the top of the order. He's got Connor Presican behind him, and the top 10 kind of broken away from the rest of the field entirely.
Starting to see some battles form back here. Tyler Gary starting to creep on towards the outside of Reese Schaefer. This is they're inside the top 20, so this is 19. Going to Gary. Schaefer down to 20th, on board with Travis Beckner, still trying to close back inside the top 20 with Doug Newbigging just in front of him.
You heard the downshift there from Travis Beckner. Seth Berger squeezed up the outside, but that's just another tool in the toolbox. The downshifting just to help the car rotate. There's actually a physical advantage to downshifting, that gyroscopic twist in the chassis when you let the gearbox rev a little higher. And that's something that drivers can use, and you might hear him downshift and then go right back up to avoid wheel spin, but Beckner, as quickly as he dropped, he's starting to point that 28 back in the right direction.
And it looks like he's just about to clear Schaefer for that spot, and indeed he will do so. Trying to set forward a little bit more, trying to catch back up to Conor Horn. Speaking of which, up to 18th place.
Halfway.
Yep. Oh yeah, well, just like that. Halfway through this race, 30 minutes left. Ticking off the laps. And again, the big question is, are we going to see these guys attempt to go all the way to the end on one tank with what they got? Or will we see some drivers maybe try to cut this in half, come down to the pits, get fresh tires, get back out there?
Well, if that happens, then that would work out for them if we do go green. We've only had 1 yellow throughout the first half of this race, and actually, no, 2. Scratch that. But it's still less than the average. Yeah, it's still less than the average that we've had coming into tonight, which is 7. But be on the lookout for that late race caution, Kyle, because over the course of the 4 times we've been here for the Cup Series, last yellow, 9 to go, the average.
I'm going to regret this, but they've done a really nice job tonight, haven't they? I'm going to regret saying that in about 35 laps, but no, honestly, this has been a great race.
Remember we were talking about your caution senses tingling?
Yeah, they never, I mean, they did. And then, I mean, it took a few laps, but they did. But they, honestly, I didn't, after we started to get those restart wrecks, you always wonder if they're going to ever be able to get spread back out again, but they've done a really nice job giving leeway tonight.
And guess what?
Oh, no, Ricky Springer.
Dang it, dude.
You read too far ahead in the script.
Oh, man, this might have just been all on his own. He was way sideways.
He is really struggling around here.
Yeah, been tough tonight for the 51, hasn't it? Yeah, I'm going to get blamed for this. Yeah, just comes out of 4 and just death wobble and into the wall area.
Well, it doesn't help with how heavy the rear of the car is.
At least he didn't take out 6 other people. So I'll say, as long if you're going to crash, at least just wreck yourself, right? So that's all right. They're still doing a good job.
They're still doing a good job, and I think this is going to answer the question of whether they can make it or not to the end of the race. I think everyone is going to come on down this time by, because they can fairly comfortably at this point make it to the end of the race.
Yeah, it'll be 70 laps here if they plan to stay on this strategy or set of tires for the remainder of the race. But if we do get that late race caution, I do believe we'll see most, if not all, come in for another set of tires if they still have any left.
70 laps to go this time by. Jake Nichols is your leader. A couple drivers I think we're looking forward to that just to get a reset. I think Connor Horn would also like to get another go at things. He's just continued to stall around midfield. Adam Cabot too. We see any 2 tire stops? See a lot of that.
No, I don't either.
I don't think that that's the right call,
Ooh.
but that's tight off the pit lane there, isn't it?
Really, really tight race off pit road. Nichols retaining the lead. Matheson, McKinney, Scarlett, Knoll. I think pretty much the exact same top 5 we had coming in. But I do see 1 2-tire stop. Adam Cabot in the 07.
Yeah, worth
the only
it.
one.
I think worth it. Again, his car's got some damage. I don't think he was going to drive up here on his own. I think it's worth an experiment. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You're still likely to get another yellow from here to the end, although we have seen a lot of green flag running tonight. I don't see a lot of disadvantage because otherwise, where would you be? You'd be right back where you're going to end up if this doesn't go your way, right? So
yeah, I feel like you should be fine because we had 2 cautions, so the tires that just came off of, I think a little bit less than half of those laps. I think the tires only had around 20 laps of actual green flag running on them. So then those are the left side tires. I think that's a decent enough call. I think he should be fine.
Not to mention he had that pass through to start the race, so he was already kind of in a hole, just trying to get himself back into it. But the speed that he does have, he qualified inside the top 10 regardless of that pit road penalty. But yeah, should be interesting here. Under 70 to go. This could be a good indication, Kyle, if taking 2 in the short run is going to be worth it.
I don't know that he's not going to go forward. That's for sure, but I don't think that there's a huge risk if he doesn't drop all that quickly. I think this could be a net gain for him, 30, 40 laps down the line when we could get our next yellow. Thing to note, though, is that even though it sounds like there's a lot of laps left, it's still just over 25 minutes of racing. It's really not that much. So, I'm not going to say that we're down in the tail end of the race, the nitty-gritty, but we're not that far from it. So, I would have liked to have tried that experiment earlier, but I don't think he was in a position to give that a go just yet, Finian.
Yeah, we'll just have to kind of see how this plays out once we go back green. Still think a decent chance of this race going green to the end. Maybe a caution to stop us on the right, because we've seen once, obviously getting out of those first couple laps, he can kind of single file out, and then pending any kind of weird shenanigans going on near the back of the field, I think we should be good to go to the end.
Add some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, which is music bingo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact info. And check out the High Banks podcast. Just two blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter, available on Spotify. The High Banks podcast. High Banks here, sort of. Not the highest, but probably the highest average banking around anything other than Talladega or Daytona.
It definitely feels like it. You feel like you're about to fall off the track with the way it banks and the way it kind of falls into itself around here. It gives it that unique, that unique sense, that unique taste around here for this track. And speaking of taste, well, Miles, the monster, I think he's still pretty hungry now. He hasn't cleaned a lot of cars. 42 of the 43 still running on the lead lap.
He's had his side salad and he's ready for the main course here. Lap 84 of 150. We're winding things down from Dover. The Monster Mile, green flag in the outside lane with Nichols leading, fires off.
Interesting choice that the 73. He picked the outside lane for the restart. As we've seen a couple of drivers have some trouble up there, but he's able to get away cleanly. A little bit of a stack up here in the back as everyone's trying to struggle to get it back up to speed and fighting for position.
Could be an interesting note for later if he's in that situation, but nonetheless, still door-to-door battles as far up as second. Matheson trying to get back around Scioli. McKinney scoring off to the inside, and here comes Drew Jua to his outside.
Yeah, the 13 is in this mix now for sure. Seth Knoll trying to move back forward here. Lots of shuffling in the background, but they've sorted it out mostly. There's the 11 of Philip Groner trying to move his way back forward. Seth Berger under fire. Cameron Hearn, Peyton Howell. There's a lot of great racing going on back here.
Yeah, a lot of great racing, a lot of scrapping for position. Everyone trying to move up. Whoa, save it. I think that was Payne there a little bit loose.
Big moment.
He avoided catastrophe there. And the 70 does fall back outside the top 30, but nonetheless still better than a beat-up race car as Matheson looking to that outside of Scioli. He's going to drive it in. Not going to get the run off the corner, but still going to be on the bumper of Scioli.
Off into turn one. Couple of Solar Flare Camrys right off the nose here. And the Slinger Racing Graphics Toyota to the bottom. Going to get the fence there just a little out of two. You're going to use up that right side like a non-renewable resource. It's like your oil reserves. You got it until you don't. And Matheson has got a lot of right side left to use up.
Yeah, I think he's trying to see how much he can mess around with the 7 of James Scioli, maybe try to poke some holes in his defense, see if he can get a shot past him and then catch his teammate and his main rival for this race, 73 of Jake Nichols.
It's interesting to note that Jake Nichols' only win last year in the Cup Series was at this track at Dover.
That's a crazy stat.
Oddly enough, yeah, very crazy. I was surprised myself, but the 73 still leading for the time being. He's got the 7 just about a car length behind him, but then it's bumper-to-bumper traffic from that point on.
Yeah, that was almost as crazy as the Camry stat earlier. Down into turn 3. Cabot, that 0-7, remember that 2-tire call? He's 16. Finney, what's your thoughts on it so far?
I don't think the experiment's worked out. I think it even shows even those 20-lap full tires. To my surprise, I think they definitely matter because he's just, and I'm not sure this is just him being constantly, freight trained by everyone on the outside. He hasn't had a chance to really get to that outside lane, or if those left side tires were actually just important enough to give him some edge on the speed back down to 17th.
Well, just a little further in front of him, you saw the 3 of Hearts move to the inside, trying to get around Connor Okrezik. Meanwhile, Blaze McKinney and Matheson fighting for the podium spot. McKinney on the outside, going to try and get that run. Matheson nowhere to go on the inside. Here comes Seth Knoll creeping in the mix.
And the whole Solar System's up here. Solar Flare Racing has got 4 of the top 5 spots at the moment, looks like. Seth Knoll creeps into the picture. He's going to go to the high side. Follow the 87 back by the 54. This is frustrating, Fitting. It's like reverse Martinsville getting trapped on the bottom. But what can you do?
Yeah, not much. And we saw, Nick Silver dropping to the back a couple spots. I think almost hit the wall. Almost wrecked in turns 1 and 2 with contact with the 62.
Yeah, they were going at it here. This is last lap. Tyler Gary on the bottom. Let's see what happens down here in 1 and 2. Goes to the outside of the 3. The 62 comes up the hill and tags him, and a nice save there by the 99, but it took him a while to run it back down.
Yeah, he had to give up a lot of time, but was able to save it. He drops back down at 20th, but the car is still very much in the race. Take a look at Blaze McKinney all over the back of James Cowley. He wants a shot, Blaze McKinney, at getting past. He feels, I think he's got a solid shot at winning this race.
Well, not only that, he's got Seth Knoll creeping on his bumper as well, so the more the merrier, but Matheson falling down to 5th. Juju still lurking in the back, trying to enter the top 5. There's a couple of side-by-side action behind the top 5 or so. Matthew Bell, Connor Okrezik, and it's a 609 car. Bailey Turner to the outside.
Yeah, Turner really needs some luck this season to turn that, this tough start around. Really, 609 in general could use that. Horn's been in position a number of times, but Jeremy Miller obviously has put himself in a predicament, and then the 25 of Bailey Turner has just not had luck go his way. But as quickly as McKinney was battling Matheson, he's now struggling on the inside of Seth Knoll, and Knoll's going to complete this pass out of 2. Yes.
McKinney quickly slams the door shut on Drew Jua, trying to make a move, and Jua back in behind. That 13 gonna have to try to see if he can get some sort of way around and break inside the top 5. But McKinney was up there fighting, but now back in 5th, and we'll have to change up his strategy. Taking a look at Bailey Turner, still fighting it out.
Connor Horn tags the 3, middle of 1 and 2, and he's going to have his teammate Adam Cabot motor him on the outside.
And Cabot will get on by.
Yeah, close call there for Connor Horn. He's been struggling a lot this race, just trying to make up ground, but this is as close to the top 10 as he's been all night, so steadily making progress to the inside of Scioli. It's Jake Matheson looking to take second back, but the 7's going to fight back on the outside.
Yeah, Matheson, I think, has the pace to win this race, but he needs to get the track position to do it. If he wants to run down Jake Nichols, he's going to have to do it pretty quickly. Half a second advantage Nichols already has. He can control the pace, and the running out of laps just over 50 to go, but it's really not that much time here at Dover, Finian.
Not that much time, and especially you got to consider, again, these guys are very much set to go to the end on this tank, and as the field slowly starts to spread out more, got to be something you have to consider. You're going to be carrying these set of tires to the end of the race, so yes, you want to push, yes, you want to get position, but you remember you're going to have to carry these tires to the end, and you're going to want to take care of them till the end because you're going to be struggling. We saw Ricky Springer and a couple others struggle towards the end of the first run.
Whoa. Oh my gosh, that's your
trouble for 42.
around.
Connor Horn, turn 1. Back across the road, and somehow everybody dodges the spinning 609 Camaro.
Wow, that was a heck of a save from Connor Horn.
He just saved a handful of drivers up there, and let's see what happened.
Is that Peyton Howell?
That got into him.
Here it is, off into 3. Big dive from the 52. Up off turn 4 here. Peyton is just going to track to the right and tag him, kind of what happened in the first yellow. But Connor does an amazing job. Just the 83 of Jackson Anderson had to scrape the fence to avoid that, but that's about as lucky as you can get. Lock the tires down just at the right time. This is a disaster, and he just does everything right there to spin it back around and face the right direction.
Yeah, right next to the article on how to save a race car, there should be a video of that right there. Just locking it down, handling the steering wheel just right, and then disengaging the brake at the right time as well.
Oh, it's almost like the 52 thought he was going to be clear up, but he wasn't. I mean, just turned kind of right, like he was trying to aim for that gap. And
can we get one more replay on board?
Yeah, let's do it. And what's great here is he locks it up, but if he doesn't unlock, he's going to slide into the 83, but he was able to unlock the tires just in time to gain steering back. Right there. Unlocks it and straightens out. And that's just great driving there in a bad situation. Pit stops. Not everybody.
Nope, not everyone, but majority. Vast majority. Mason King, Jeremy Miller staying out, which is an interesting decision. I don't necessarily agree with. Seth Knoll taking 2 tires. It's an interesting comment, which is interesting because I feel like we might have seen not necessarily the best move.
Maybe the Hunter, maybe I'm wrong, but I think this might be Seth Knoll thinking that we could get a bunch of yellows from here on out. and just aiming for the track position in hopes that the chaos of the tail end of this race will solidify. I don't know that. How many laps do they have on him, Finian?
20.
21.
That's a
21.
lot. I don't know that I would have made that call then.
Well, gotta do something, but we have seen, and that's just with 2 tires from Adam Cabot. He took 2 tires and he went to the back quick, but Jeremy Miller, Mason Kane, they really haven't had that strong of a night. Trying to turn it around, do something different, which is going to create a log jam because it's not just one lane, Kyle, it's both lanes, inside and out.
87's actually got the fastest lap of the race. That's Blaze McKinney. 23.882. One of the only drivers to be in the 23s, actually, as far as best lap. There's only 2 drivers that have done that. So we're under yellow for the 4th time tonight for a spin involving the 42 and the 52. And it's just about time where things start to get spicy. Not quite as spicy, though, as rickshotsauce.com. Head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver takes home that $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Looks like Mason Kane and Jeremy Miller are committing to staying out.
Yeah, that's definitely a call.
One of the calls of all time.
Yeah, I just don't necessarily think it's going to work out in their favor. I think with as abrasive of the surface we've seen here at Dover this night so far, I feel like they definitely would have wanted to at least come down for 2 tires if you really wanted the track position.
Jeremy Miller was a lap down at one point, so trying to turn his night around. Him and Mason Kane. Kane, haven't really talked too much about him. Yeah, 23 laps for each, 20 lap pressure tires for 3rd on back, and it's going to be an interesting restart, Kyle.
Yeah, and actually, sorry, Kyle, before you go back, say what you were about to say, Mason Kane, he came in, when the caution came out, he was 29th, Jeremy Miller 33rd.
Oh boy. Well, there's a whole lot of solar flare cars up here. I haven't seen more flares than that since stalking the Tumblr profiles in 2008.
Oh, wow.
They were around back then?
I suppose.
Sounds right.
Artsy filter time. All right, time to roll back under the green flag. It'll be lap 105 of 150. 46 laps remaining from the Monster Mile. 2 drivers that did not pit on the front row for the restart. Green flag. We're back underway at Dover.
I was about to say, also one thing to consider is them struggling to get up to speed, and Jeremy Miller is struggling with that. Immediately, a couple cars bailing to the inside and 3 wide in the background.
Yeah, this is an interesting restart. Everything's all wonky throughout the field, but Jeremy Miller starting to find his way towards the back. Mason Kane might even lead a lap under green. Seth Knoll looking to the outside, though.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. This restart went predictably out of turn 4.
Oh, Georgiou!
Oh, the 13. Crash. The 4 hard in the wall.
Oh, look out. This is going to be big.
And the 4 back up the racetrack.
Well, that baffles me. I don't know how anyone else didn't get caught up in that wreck. The 4 just slammed the inside wall hard, and it was careening back up the track, Kyle, because of that inside wall.
That car is destroyed. That was a huge hit. And that kind of went predictably. This is working out really well for, well, I thought it was going to for the, Seth Knoll's the leader now, so that is working out in his favor. Let's go back and see if we can point out exactly what happened. It was the 13 that we saw go around first. Let's slow this down a little so we can kind of keep up with all that. 4 took a huge lick. So does Jua get some assistance here?
I don't think he did. I think he just got loose. I think he might have just been pushing too hard on the Kohler tires, and just that transition out the banking caught him out. Got a hit from Oates.
And then right here, the Miller's slowing up and then just gets, the 4 is going to take a hellacious impact there. And then back across the road, look at Groner dodging and weaving here. Oof. And then I think Hearn's going to get split on either side. Again, everyone does a really nice job. Look at that. Is that the 83 again?
Yeah, well, I thought he did get creamed or someone else hit him, but everyone did a fantastic job slowing down.
Yeah, this all happened so fast.
he probably got hit from behind. I think it was Bailey Turner, because in front of him was Jeremy Miller, and he kind of put him in a pickle here.
609 sandwich. Yeah, he didn't really have much. Oh, gosh. He might have made that, too, if there wasn't the car to his inside. I mean, watch this again from high above. The 19 is there. Landon Cardullo. And right here, he might have survived it, but then right there, landed kind of wrong place, wrong time. But the 30 was not accelerating. I think he sees the 13 spin right there. He checks up. Oh, that 4, man, what a hit.
Yeah, unfortunately, everything happened so quickly. Everyone else in behind didn't realize that he was checking up for that, and a couple drivers in behind didn't have enough time to react.
I thought it was the 83. It was actually the 33 of Weishart that was up on the high side. He gets squeezed real tight there as they navigate this. Ooh, that'll make you pucker.
I think please don't, please don't, please. Was going through his head right there.
Yeah, everyone has done I mean, a lot of these wrecks could have been a lot bigger tonight than they have been. The 609 sandwich has gone a little moldy, and they've expelled the meat out of the middle, which was the 4.
And another in Cameron Hearn, he's actually left the race, so the poor season is going to get worse. He's had a I really feel bad for him. He's had a particularly miserable season so far. He finished 42nd at Daytona, 31st at Texas, 34th at Pocono, wasn't there for Charlotte, and now going to finish 41st at Dover. So things not going Cameron Hearn's way this season.
Yeah, that was a tough break there for the 4 of Hearn. I'm still baffled how no one else was involved in that. I mean, immensely hard hit from the 4 of Hearn. I would have thought for sure would have taken out a couple more cars, but wow.
Everyone's got their head screwed on just right tonight, getting on the brakes in time. And I heard an interesting. You guys familiar with Suelio Almeida and his YouTube channel?
Yes.
I don't know if it was actually him, but I'm going to bring him up because I think it's something he would teach about the transition from sim racing to real world racing, and the way that you attack a corner. Let's say on a road course, for example. In the sim racing world, you just go harder and harder and harder until you miss the corner and wreck, or you go off course, right? But in the real world, the way that you approach a corner, how hard do you push? You start by picking a very conservative braking marker and braking as hard as you can. And then if you make the corner, which you will because you picked such a conservative marker, now you can safely move your marker a little closer, and you can brake hard there until you find the limit of the car, rather than blow past it, as you're just trying to see how late you can brake, right? So I think there's something about the transition to real-world racing that those that have experience doing it will understand, but accident prevention is another one of those things, right? In the real world, you wouldn't floor it through it hoping you get through. You stomp the brakes and you try to maintain control of your car, because in the real world you wouldn't take that chance necessarily of throttling through it until you get really good, and then you might give that a go. But your natural instinct, the real world, trust me, I've been here, is not to drive through it, and they've done a really nice job tonight of not driving through it. Lap 111, 40 laps to go from Dover. Monster Mile. Miles has had some snacks. Green flag.
Little getaway for Mason Canting, was just trying to take it easy, getting through the gears, not spinning the car out. He's going to dive high, and many drivers are going to go low.
And Mason Kane's going to find himself in a real pickle here on that outside lane as the field flies by. And meanwhile, Seth Knoll continues to lead. Jake Nichols in second, and here come the rest of the top 10 trying to go inside of Kane.
Whoa.
3 wide off 4.
That's dicey. And somehow they do it. We're still 3 abreast. The 45 of Jonathan Oates is on the bottom of the track. And there was more. Ooh, this is still tight. 3 abreast. How do you make it out of this? No way. 31's crashing in turn 2. He's in the wall. 42's in it.
Oh, Connor Horn.
Caution out.
Well, that was bound to happen. He got hip checked by the 3 of Hearts there, and that's what threw him off.
This ended predictably, though. This is, Finney, you mentioned that we rarely see the don't pit strategy go well. And
Yeah, I feel like if especially again how abrasive this track is and the difference in the speed. We saw earlier a couple of drivers experiment even just with 2 tires and it not working out. The no tire strategies was not going to really work out, especially this late in the run.
I don't know that the crash was necessarily entirely his fault, but I think
No.
the position, position he's in, right? I mean, that's, I see the 2 609 cars in one go.
Yeah, that team just really can't seem to catch a break this season.
Nick Silver got a big piece of that too.
2 609 cars involved in that. Cabot and then Connor Horn nowhere to go. He's just trying to stay as low as he can, but that inside wall there, not doing much.
Self-cleaning racetrack, but Connor Horn didn't get a chance to clear the drain before all the water went through it. Yeah, it's just trapped, nowhere to go. He got away, I mean, he's got damage and he's on pit lane. I don't know how much it is kind of a lot. Adam Cabot's car, kind of a similar amount.
Yeah, I think Connor figure might as well just come down, just address the damage, fix it as much as he can, and then get back out there for the remainder of the race.
All right, so now that's going to clear out all the cars that really didn't pit. Seth Knoll's still out there on 2 tires. What do you think now? 12 laps? We've went through a couple heat cycles. This isn't looking quite so silly now, Finian.
No.
It's worked out better for him than it did for those that stayed out earlier. I think that was Cabot.
Yeah, I think he read it pretty well that, we're going to get a couple cautions coming out, so it's just going to make his position better and better. The less laps the drivers behind him have to really kind of turn those tires on and get past him. So it's starting to look better and better of a situation for the number 1 machine as they run. And actually, if we can get an update, how many cautions, which caution number was this?
This is
I think this was 5.
6. Because we had that double yellow early on.
Yeah.
One more till we meet the average.
Right on track there. And if we go green to the end, it's about under 15 minutes. We're real close to the end of this thing. And that's just going to amp people up, right? Go back to the yellow flag a little while ago. I think it was Ricky Springers that sort of triggered, the later race yellows. And it just, everyone gets on top up on the wheel because there's opportunities to be had, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So starting to get down to it. We'll get the restart. Just over 30 laps to go. I think 34, 35 laps to go. Sorry, 34, 33 laps to go. And I would say the aggression hasn't picked up. It's, I think, definitely about to start picking up here.
Well, hasn't yet?
Not a whole lot. For the most part, they've been giving each other some space to work with.
Yeah, I think the last restart with a couple drivers that were kind of out of place as far as the tire strategy, that made that look a little bit more dramatic than it would have otherwise been. But you should take the moment to head over to shop.areairacing.com and check out the high-quality merchandise at low prices. You can shop from over 100 selections of T-shirts, hats, Champion brand clothing, and more area accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear at shop.areairacing.com. On the green. And I'm not rooting for anybody in particular, but I will say that my pick is right up at the front right now. Although I think we're on the back foot with the strategy here.
I mean, I think we're all doing pretty well, right? I'm third, and Hunter, you picked Jake, right? Jake Matheson?
Yes, he is
so
right in there.
Well, how am I going to gain any points if you guys are also making a lot of points? Not
hey,
fair.
man, you have first pick.
Well, because I'm last, and losers get to go first.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like someone could loser coming out of tonight as it runs.
Hey, give it some time.
One day.
I think there's a big rain cloud coming, guys. We got to go red flag.
Oh, it's going to be like when you were making the thumbnail for Texas and it was magically raining.
Dude,
on the
so
oval.
much fun. I want rain so bad in ovals. I think it'd be hilarious. Just to introduce another dynamic is if we don't have enough already. 34 laps to go from Dover. Seth Knoll in the blue Solar Flare car is your race leader. Late restart, and we're back underway. Pretty even amongst those front two.
Yeah, pretty solid getaway for the front two. Seth Knoll diving out of the corner. James Scully trying to see if he can beat his teammate in the 73 to the outside. Scully will just get through, not quite. Nichols back will rebound and do. I think Jake Matheson caught a piece of the wall.
Yeah, he's trying to get to the outside of Blaze McKinney there. Had a strong run, going to try and carry it through 3 and 4. Meanwhile, Seth Knoll sees his teammates balance side by side for second. Nichols with a run on the outside. Scully going to be under attack for third from Blaze McKinney.
Yeah, that bought him a couple tenths of a second, that little scrum out of turn 4 between those two. 2 and 3 wide in the background, car in the wall, and the 7 goes, that's the 62 rather, goes for escape.
He's able to save it, will continue forward. I was watching that battle for between the 7 and the 87. Skyler has put McKinney in the wall down one of the straightaways, and so it is very hard fought up near the front here. You can see Jake Matheson, he's looking to the inside of McKinney. Battle for 4th place between these two. And McKinney going to pitch 54 down on the apex on the exit. Will get the spot. How about Connor Kresick trying to make some noise? Haven't really talked a whole lot of the 14 tonight. He's up there in 6th.
Yeah, he's starting to make up some ground very quickly here in the later stages of this race. Meanwhile, Connor Horn trying to dig himself from out of a hole really since the beginning of this race. Hadn't had a good starting spot. Meanwhile, Tyler Gary gets the best of Ryan Hartz there. Ed Shearer Jr., Matthew Bell in the 8, almost making contact through turn 2. Bell going to tap off the wall, and actually a couple laps ago, it was Ryan Hartz that had the worst end of that kerfluffle there with Tyler Gary.
I think there was some contact between those two. They just managed to hang on to it. Philip Groner moving his way back forward after a setback earlier in this race. And Seth Knoll on that 2-tire call, 4/10 of a second advantage with 30 laps to go. Was it the right one at the right time?
Yeah, I think that track position might have been key here because these tires are only going to get more and more worn out. He's just kind of hoping to set a blaze and drive away from everyone else in behind. Scully and McKinney battling it out for 3rd.
Jake Matheson on the bumper of both of them. This time he's on the bumper of Scioli. Connor Kresick lurking in the back as well. He might have a strong enough run to make it a 4-car battle for that podium spot.
So tight that both Scioli and Matheson had to resort to scraping the wall to squeeze up to the outside of the 87. Not a lot of room to race here. Big push between the Toyotas around the outside of McKinney's Chevrolet.
Still trying to push him onwards. You can see Connor Kresick just hanging out in the background of the picture, trying to freight train him on the outside. And a bump there from the 54 to the 7, off into turn 3. Scioli's clear. Matheson now the next one has to get clear.
Yeah, Jake Matheson's trying to get the 7 moving. He's like, hey, I got places to go, people to see, trophies to win. As he's trying to clear Blaze McKinney for 4th. Connor Kresick, though, not making it easy.
No, he's not. Kresick wanted to jump up to the outside of McKinney. McKinney wants in line, but Kresick denies him that, at least for the moment.
Yeah, Kresick knows if he can just kind of keep the 87 from getting that gap, he has a chance of working past him and gaining a spot, breaking inside the top 5. Matheson still not clear of McKinney. He's just about a dive on pass. I think he should be able to execute it here. Coming off turn 2, actually not quite. McKinney actually came back really strong on the exit. In behind them, Tyler Gary, Michael Curran, they're fighting it out for 7th.
Yeah, Gary's starting to work his way closer towards this mix as well. Curran on the outside of that. Gary's going to clear him, so move him in sole position to 7th. And
trouble, turn 4. Big crash.
Oh, massive hit.
One car upside
my
down.
gosh.
Oh. I think
Who
it's
is
Seth
that?
Berger in the 77. There was somebody was up on their... No, it's not. It's Max Service.
Wow, I had a really good burger pun there, but that went out the window.
Yeah, I think it happened ahead. Right here, the 42 is going to get the 77, and up and over, the 81 just gets launched.
Well, that just unlocked a core memory for those. Back in 2011, Glenn
yeah,
Boyer had something similar to this, although Boyer only went on his side. He didn't go fully upside down like Max Service did.
Yeah, the 42 gets the 77, and then Max Service nowhere to go. Right off the fender. Up and over. What a wild ride that is. Ooh. Oh, the 2 into the door of the 94 also. I think the 30 got a pretty good perspective of all this. And let's ride on board the 81.
Wow, what a beautiful shot right there.
Yeah, that was a big one. Here it is in ultra slow-mo here. Wow. Big launch for the 81. He is likely done for the night. 7th caution of the evening puts us right on par from last season. Nobody up at the front came to pit lane, but 22nd on down did.
Oh, and I see Connor Horn trundling down pit lane. He's going to try to see if he can beat the pace car.
Yeah, I would think that this will get attributed to him and might add to some more penalty points, which he really doesn't need.
It looks like it didn't. It was marked as an incident. And, oh, I think he just beat the pace car out.
Might have gotten lucky with that.
Go get him, Stickers.
I don't think he's going to be able to do much with the way that car is. It's got a decent amount of damage.
Saw a turn right to go upside down. That's not what Doc Hudson taught. Yeah, I think Seth Knoll probably pretty much right back on par with everyone as far as the tires are concerned. With this many heat cycles on them, I can't imagine that there's that big of a difference.
There's many heat cycles and many laps as well. I think they've kind of evened out. He's been running in some clean air, so less aware than most of his competitors are going to be facing. So I think all in all, this has worked out pretty well in the one's favor. And if you can hold on, get the win, it will be win number 3 of the season for the number 1 machine.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty impressive feat to get 3 wins within the first 5 races of the season. You're sitting pretty comfortable if you're Jake Nichols in Solar Flare Racing 1, 2, 3. The only one you really got to worry about for the moment is Jake Matheson. He's going to restart 4th, the second car in that outside lane, but Blaze McKinney, Connor O'Kresick, don't count those guys out yet.
Really getting down to the nitty-gritty now, as I call it, the last 20 or so laps. Next time by, the ticker will shift over to counting down. That's when the intensity ramps up. See Seth Berger now 3 laps down and rejoin the racetrack. 35 cars on the lead lap. And of those that have led laps, let's have a look. And 24 laps led for Knoll, 32 for Nichols, 62 for Jake Matheson. McKinney had a couple led earlier.
See, do we think, guys, this is going to be the last caution?
Nope.
That was not a chance.
Answer.
I mean, if we were at lap 140, I'd say maybe. I think there's just enough time, even with how tidy the restarts have been relatively. I think there still stands a pretty good chance that we see drivers trying to take advantage of the opportunity. 20 laps to go, 20 miles left. The 5th round of the Season 6 Area Cup Series. Nice, even launch to 28, does not get going.
Oh.
Stack up on the restart in the midfield.
Oh, and Groner making contact with Sherry Jr. Does he save it? Does he save it? He will not. Hard impact into the wall. Takes on Andrew Payne as well.
Well, cautions breed cautions with 20 to go.
Yeah, that started a long ways from where it turned into a wreck.
I think that started with the 28.
Yeah, he wiggles the 11 over to go. He's got it gathered up here, and then he just kind of jumps out of the throttle and kind of gets himself in a pickle there. 70 whipped around hard. Miller get tagged in it too. Now, if we go on board this 28, he's in first gear. Ooh, someone's going to get him. Where is he at?
Someone's going to get got.
Well, first gear. What do you know? Yeah, same thing we've been seeing. But again, it didn't directly cause the crash, but again, I think the The wheel spin and the expectation of go leads to stop pretty quick.
Yeah, and also a warning from the admins to bunch it up better on the restarts. They've been noticing a couple guys straggling a little too far behind for their liking.
Well, let's go back and see what they're talking about here. If we watch the 11, see the gap he's got. I think they're probably... That's probably where they were pointing the finger, if I'm honest.
Yeah, they've been noticing not only on this restart, but a couple other restarts where there's been around an extra car length of space between drivers.
On the bottom there behind, I think that's Weishart.
They're just concerned the driver's trying to jump the restart.
It's been weird. The restarts have been either picture perfect or an absolute disaster. We haven't really had a lot of in between tonight.
Yeah, I guess usually if it's not picture perfect, it usually tends to lean more into towards disaster territory.
I have a slightly messy restart, which is what restarts usually are, to be fair. It's not usually common that you have restarts that look like something out of a driver's meeting video where they tell you exactly how to do it.
I wish.
You should see how many times. So when you're on a pit lane, and maybe I can... so you got your 2 lanes on pit lane. Every single SRO drivers meeting, they talk about how these lanes are supposed to be used in the sports car racing world. This is true of IMSA. This is true in SRO. If you are in the transition lane, which is the lane between the pit boxes and the fast lane by the wall, if you're in that lane, you do not have the ability to just drive over into the fast lane. You have to slot in line behind anybody that you have overlap with. So even if you come out and you're 3/4 of a car length ahead of someone in the fast lane, if you have any overlap, you have to drop in behind them. That's the rule. It's gone over in every single driver's meeting and every single race. There's always somebody that doesn't do it right. And I saw that happen at Road America in the IMSA WeatherTech race the other day, and I was watching Calvin just strain as he had watched it happen again in real time. It's like, guys, this is the simplest rule ever. How do we not understand this at this point? But
because race car driver want to beat other drivers.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Because what you want to do is you want to zipper merge, right? That's your natural tendency, but that is not how sports car racing pit lanes are structured for safety reasons. But when push comes to shove, no one wants it. You know what happened that was really interesting?
What's that?
Is at VIR, someone was penalized for obstructing the fast lane, which I'd never seen that penalty before.
Really?
So they were not traveling at the pit lane speed limit, and so drivers passed them in the right lane, which Calvin thought they would be penalized for, but they were not, because they were traveling at the pit lane speed, and the driver in the fast lane was not. So they were penalized for obstructing the pit lane, which I have never seen that penalty
I feel like that
before.
Definitely one that is very rarely handed out.
I've never seen it in 5 years.
Why was the driver not going pit lane speed?
Not exactly sure why. Maybe they were trying to let somebody in line or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Cameron Hearn bought us some good luck for $4.99. Appreciate it, Cameron.
Oh.
Says now you can buy a Happy Meal, maybe. Not quite. I live in Chicago.
Not in this economy.
No, I can get myself an extra hash brown after YouTube takes their cut. I appreciate it, though. Always appreciate it, Cameron. It's been a tough year for the 4. I was going to say maybe he needs it more than we do.
We share our love. Not that it really matters much. But we do share our love to you.
Well, that sounds extreme. Appreciation, maybe. 7:23 for a Happy Meal, says Jason Beckner. I think it's more than that. I'll check if we get another yellow. I'll check what it is in Chicago. It's probably more than that. Here we go. 15 laps to go from Dover, Monster Mile. Seth Knoll leads us back to the restart.
And there they go. Travis Beckner into Matthew Bell around the go. Where will they stop? Nobody knows.
Oh, man. You didn't have to get bars like that. Well, we got our yellow, so I can check on the Happy Meal price. What is going on here?
I think everyone was trying to get a little bit more aggressive on these restarts. And
well, you know what they say about
having
aggressive.
none of it. Typically, you go around.
This time,
and many people did.
It's at the 28 again. Man, what happened?
It looked like the 14 struggled to get up to speed. I have to see this from above, and I think that caused a checkup on the outside lane. stuff. Watch the 14, the red and black and gold car up there. There he spins the tires.
Yep.
And
64.
giant accordion effect right there.
There's everybody in it. 50. Oh, man. What a mess. We were doing so good, guys.
Yeah, that time of the race.
Yeah. Oh, man, the 3 just got away with that there. His onboard is going to be pretty wild. Let's find him and ride on board the gearbox. Yeah, so at first it looked like the 28 just lost control, but he gets hit from behind. Oh, man, that's so lucky. See Beckner's nose come off there as well, so big mess. Is that yellow number 9, I think, tonight?
I think 8 or 9. I think probably 9, actually, you're right.
Well, we still have laps left, so Miles might be in for some dessert.
Hey, speaking of food, so McDonald's. McDonald's prices.
So I'm looking up.
Is the price of a Happy Meal?
Well, got that stupid
Or a
AI overview.
Big Mac meal?
It was Happy Meal, I think, which, so...
You're probably looking at $5 now.
well, they said it was
Oof.
$7.23.
Okay, so for me, where I am, and I am, for reference, just outside New York City, it is for a hamburger, a Happy Meal, $5.99.
$5.99 for a Happy Meal. Let us see. I have to, like, go to the order...
I feel like yours is probably $7. I'll be surprised.
For my area, it ranges from about $4.70 to $6.19.
Why is this... Why can't I just look at it?
You can. You have to pull it up on the app on your phone.
Well, I don't have a McDonald's app. What, am I crazy?
I mean, listen. In my defense, you get a lot of rewards with the app. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna do some research.
I was trying to look it up online, and they really want you to do it through an app or a service.
It doesn't. But then they're going to be different prices between the different services.
Right.
Let's look here.
Well, maybe I've got time to download the app. I mean, if we're being honest, we can't get through a restart. We got that. I mean, McDonald's. I'm going to regret downloading this. I love how the first result is DoorDash. No. Gosh, dang it.
Cut the middleman out of it.
You know what's funny is that they have like the same stoner dude on the, so you know when you go up to like order a McDonald's drive-thru, they have like the, so usually it's like, hey, you know, what would you like or whatever, right? But they have the same automated message by the same stoner dude. It's like, hello, would you like to use your McDonald's app? But it's never a real person. It's just a recording of like a teenager.
Yep.
And is it the same guy for you or is it a different guy?
I feel like I've heard it. I don't use the drive-thru normally, but I feel like I have heard that on
like hello, would you like to use McDonald's app? And I never say yes.
You know, maybe
today is it. Oh, do I have to?
Have to make an account.
Okay, I don't want to sign up for emails about McDonald's. That's a sad.
Sounds like you're not loving it.
I found the price for you, Kyle. At least in
James
one of the
Shambles
McDonald's.
says that I will not. I'm definitely not letting you send me notifications. That's wild. All right. All right, here we go. What are we looking
I
at?
need you blowing up my
Burger
phone.
Happy Meal?
Yeah.
Okay, pickup location. Sandwiches and meals?
Yeah, just do. Should be one of the first things that pop up.
This is great. As we were getting the one to go, go back green.
I got time.
Happy Meal, here it is. Hamburger Happy Meal, $4.29.
What?
Yeah.
How is mine the most expensive? What? That makes no sense.
Well, I mean, it would
Well,
certainly not be this. I think it gives you a deal, I'm sure, on the app.
And for a 6-piece chicken McNugget Happy Meal, $7.69.
$4.99, baby. Move to Chicago. We got all the deals, baby. Rent's going up and McDonald's is down, baby. Buy the stocks.
No, with that said, we've got a race to go, 10 laps to go.
Buy it on Uber Eats, the down payment might be $4.99.
That's definitely true.
Here we go. 10 laps at Dover. Let's get this green, boys. Finish this one off strong. Seth Knoll, Jake Nichols, James Scioli. 3 solar flare cars out front and a stack up again. Everybody scatters. 4 wide. Nope. No way.
And up.
Wow.
No way.
That was impressive.
How about that?
We're still 3 abreast here, heading down into 3. We got away with it for now. 9 laps to go. At least we got 1 green flag lap under our belts here. Woo.
That was dramatic. That was a very dramatic restart there. Seth Knoll ahead of Jake Nichols, James Scioli. They're all trying to chase him down. I see Jonathan Oakes riding the outside, Peyton Howell, and Connor Kresge make some door-to-door contact with the 14 as he's trying to charge up forward.
Yeah, side by side for 6th there. Okrezik to the inside of Jonathan Oates there as Solar Flare still 1, 2, 3. Blaze McKinney hounding the 7 as Oates pounds the wall. Travis Beckner missing a front bumper, still inside the top 10.
Yeah, just trying to get to the end now. As high as the 28's been running all night. He just wants to get to the end and finish here. A lot of retirements. Jake Matheson is out. Did we document that?
No, I don't think we did.
Dropped out in that.
He lost connection. Yeah.
That is unfortunate for Hunter.
Yeah, just so happens to be me. Love it.
Blaze McKinney to the inside of the 7. That's tight out of 2.
Oh man, almost wrecking loose off the corner. They just keep it off each other, at least for now. But we've seen Blaze McKinney, he's not afraid to be aggressive. And that may or may not come back to hurt him here as they're fighting tooth and nail for position. McKinney losing the speed off the corner. Michael Curran trying to make some noise. Hasn't been, I think, in the top 5 all night long. Here he is right at the end trying to make a place as much as he can.
Yeah, slowly but surely inside the top 5. And McKinney trying to get in between the 2 of Scioli and Curran, and did just that. Still going to look to the inside, trying to get a run to the 7 of Scioli for 3rd.
5 miles to go at Dover. Tyler Gary, Peyton Howell, they're side by side. Connor Okrezik. Ricky Springer, with all that he's been through, is almost into the top 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's definitely had an upside-down night. Andrew Payne also, he was involved in a wreck not too long ago. How about Connor Horn back inside the top 20?
Persevere.
Oh, here's McKinney trying to prevent the 24 of Curran from going by on the outside for 4th. Meanwhile, Tyler Gary, he's knocking on the door of a top 5.
We're not done here up at the front, boys. Oh, big lunge from the 62 into turn 3. Tried to jack up the 87, didn't work.
Tyler Gary trying to get around. McKinney's been aggressive, almost too aggressive. Gary in the wall trying to get some sort of purchase on the 87. Peyton Howell in behind, Jonathan Oakes in behind, and a whole bunch of other cars in behind, racing really hard for position.
Yeah, battles all over the place. In the back there, it was Senesac, Connor Horn, Etchier Jr. Up here, it's Blaze McKinney trying to hold off Peyton Howell, Jonathan Oates, and the 2 pink cars going at it for 3rd.
Scioli trying to keep it a Solar Flare 1, 2, 3. Gary and McKinney and Curhan trying to break that party up. 2 laps to go.
Oh!
Running up the hill there in 1 and 2.
Running up the hill, a couple cars on the wall. McKinney trying to just stop the bleeding at this point with his run. Howell and Oakes both pursuing in behind. White flag in the air.
One more time from Dover as hard hit to the outside wall. That's Michael Curran. He's going to lose plenty of spots here in the final lap.
That is big trouble for the 24. Can he make it back around? They're still 2 and 3 wide.
3rd.
Seth Knoll leads the way. 3rd place is still a battle on the last lap. But Seth Knoll has won 2 races so far. He comes in as the points leader. He's going to leave Dover as the leader. Seth Knoll conquers the Monster Mile as pandemonium out of turn 4. The 28 hits the fence. And others use up everything left in their cars at the finish line.
That was an amazing last 10-lap stretch there. Everyone fighting tooth and nail for position, but they somehow kept it clean enough.
There's the hard hit for Travis Beckner.
10th.
He was still able to come home with a top 10, and so was Michael Curran on that final lap. But what could have been for the 24?
Seth Knoll has had a phenomenal season so far. His 3rd win of the year, and every other race he has won so far. 1 at Daytona, 12th at Texas, 1 at Pocono, 6th at Charlotte, wins at Dover. And if I'm a betting man, I'm not picking the 1 next week at Sonoma, because the math tells me that we should look at him to go win Wilkesboro the week after.
We'll have to see, but definitely a fantastic start of the season for the number 1 machine, showing why that number 1 is on his door panel.
How about Tyler Gary up to 3rd?
Yeah, I was going to say he had a really impressive run at the end. We'll get to a chance to talk to him in just a little bit after he had a hard charge up to the front.
Yeah, a phenomenal race all around for Solar Flare yet again. 1-2. Couldn't quite come home with the top 3, but nonetheless, Seth Knoll gets his 3rd win of the year.
There's a look at your top 10. Tyler Gary, Scioli, McKinney salvages a top 5, at least the 87. I think he was a little better than that, but I think he'll take a top 5 after tonight. Connor Okrezik up to 8th place. Travis Beckner, on all the trials and tribulations he had, a top 10 run for him, Finian.
Yeah, then heading back to the next phase of finishers, Andrew Payne will finish in 11th. Ricky Springer up and down and up again. Will end up somewhere in the middle and 12th. A decent finish today. Trey Edson didn't really mention the 78 at all. He snuck away with a 13th place finish. Garrett Grant in 14th with Bell. Connor Horn back in 16th. His charge back forward. Drew Drua dropped back to 17th. Not the best day for him. Shura Jr., Senezek, and Cardillo the top 20.
And then you get a look at the rest of the results. From 21st to 30th, Brent Pukari, Greg Mitchell, Tyler Nichols, Adam Cabot, Jackson Anderson, who had that unfortunate last restart, Jeremy Miller, Bailey Turner, David Weishart, Ed Robertson, and Robert Colgan round out the top 30.
And looking down the rest of the order, some drivers that didn't have such good luck today. Jake Matheson late in the running was top 5 all night long, 38th with a disconnection. Saw Max Service go upside down, and maybe have that car serviced before next week. Mason Kane down in 40th place, wreck he was involved in. And Justin Bondurant only got 3 laps into the race before calling it a night. Cameron Hearn, his bad luck stretch continues. But good finish and good results for Tyler Gary. He comes home in 3rd place, the number 62 Toyota. Tyler, things got aggressive there at the end. Big lunges, and one paid off. You get by this number 7 and grab yourself a podium. Take us through the night. Pretty interesting evening, all things considered.
Yeah, I felt like I was pretty competitive. Felt like I could have ran up front, but unfortunately, I think Matthew just messed up on a restart, and then I got damaged from it. I was never really able to cover all the way, and he got back inside the top 10. But I'm not here to run for points. I didn't join the season early enough, so I'm really just going for wins. So I figured, with the position I was in, I had a better chance at winning with going and getting tires and hoping I was able to get back to the front. We got close. I would take a P3. Not too bad.
Not too bad. Tyler Gary comes home 3rd in the number 62 Toyota. Tyler, thanks for talking, and good luck to you next week if you join us at Sonoma.
Thank you.
And Jake Nichols comes up runner-up. He's 2nd in the points, 2nd in the race, and led a good chunk of laps tonight, Jake. There was a period where I think you felt like you had the advantage, but late in the race, Seth Knoll takes 2 tires and never really looked back. Take us through your night. Would you have played the strategy any differently now looking back?
I don't know. I don't think so. Our car was really good. I really feel good at this track when we get a long run in. And that first run, I didn't think I'd get as high as I did, but I kind of just followed Ricky through. I let him do all the dirty work in terms of using up his tires, and I just kind of followed him, moved my way toward the front, and honestly, I feel it was a little better in terms of the bottom versus top in that first run. I think I could have got past Matthew there and got to Matheson, but it was just so hard to pass at the time of the race. But overall, our cars were awesome. Solar Flare almost 1, 2, 3. Tyler Gary stole 3rd from James there, but he ran good all night, so credit to him. But credit to our team as well. Tyler got a decent finish for having probably a lackluster race in his mind, and obviously Phil got involved in a late race wreck. But either way, we take that and look at amazing point tonight for the team again. I feel like we should be 5 for 5. I feel like Texas was one that got away for all of us. And other than that, it's been Solar Flare on top. So hopefully we can keep this up and just keep getting in victory lane, especially going into Sonoma next week, which should be another great week for us.
Well, things are looking up for Solar Flare Racing. Jake Nichols, 2nd place tonight at Dover. Jake, thanks for talking, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you then.
And Seth Knoll. Hey, guess what, Seth? I picked you, and
You're damn right you did.
2 for 3, baby. I needed those points, and here we are in victory lane with Seth Knoll. Man, 3 wins every other race so far this season. You have won, and setting yourself on a great trajectory for the championship and leading the playoff standings. Still early in the season, but things are going the right direction. Take us through your night, that strategy call that puts you on top to go win this race.
Yeah, the first run I killed my tires and dropped like a rock. Thought I was doing good. I asked James what he was doing because he killed all of us on tires. He was 20% better than all of us. And that helped me the second run. Felt like I was just as fast as everyone else. Like there was 4 of us that were really, really close on pace. So it came down to that. What was it, 50 to go pit stop? I said, screw it. We're doing it now. And everybody decided to wreck behind us. So, good night for Solar Flare. Able to go out here and put ourselves in a good position again with a 1-2. That's, I think, 3 in a row for us. So we're kicking some butt on the team points. And we'll head to next week at Sonoma. Feel pretty good there and try and get another 1-2.
Seth Knoll, 3 races, won in the first 5 of the season. Things are looking up for the Solar Flare number 1. Back in victory lane in position number 1. Seth, thanks for talking. Congratulations. And we'll see you in California next week.
I appreciate you, Kyle.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, I might not be last in the commentator pick standings next week because of a very lucky pick tonight. Strategy played out in Seth Knoll's favor, but Finian, final thoughts on Dover. This one had some dramas kind of late in the race with those yellow flags, but all in all, pretty good, entertaining race with a lot of different variables as we head into the first of 2 highly anticipated weeks for me, road racing at Sonoma and a couple weeks later at Montreal.
Yeah, such a schedule really starts to get very interesting from here on out. So we might see a couple new drivers near the top of the order, potentially winning some races. Got Sonoma, North Wilkesboro, Darlington, and Montreal. That's a very interesting stretch of tracks. A big challenge for these drivers, a whole bunch of different conditions they got to consider and get used to, especially Montreal. That's going to be the big wild card, I think, for all these drivers for the next couple of weeks. But all in all, fantastic racing from Dover when it was green. These guys were absolutely fighting out, especially in those last 10 laps. I'm amazed they finished it under green.
Well, it's not about how you start, it's how you finish, and we finished with a bunch of chaos. But for Seth Knoll, he led the last 46 laps and the checkered flag lap in order to get his 3rd win of the season. And Kyle, I mentioned it, the past couple of seasons, the winner has come from within the first couple of rows, and Seth Knoll started P4, so he would be outside row 2. Going to be interesting seeing how these cars navigate the lefts and rights of Sonoma next week.
We go road racing in California next week, but a couple more runs at Dover. The Truck Series tomorrow, and then on Thursday, the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series heads right here to the Monster Mile, and Miles got a taste tonight. I don't think he got the full meal, but what a fun show here tonight for the Cup Series. And again, Sonoma next week, Trucks Tuesday, and then Florida State Builders Area Pro Series right here from Dover tomorrow. For Kyle Heyer, for Hunter Sleppy, for Finian DeCuna, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.